Welcome everyone back to a new episode of PD and the Law. I'm attorney George Ackerman, also known as Sharon's son George. And today, or in this show, we talk about the legal field and Parkinson's disease. A new episode, and guests hopefully will have some of the legal field, people with PD affected by laws. And again, the disclaimer that's important is the shows and videos are for educational purposes only and information. For legal advice, please contact a local attorney in your jurisdiction. I cannot provide legal advice. And I want to thank you for joining me in court today. And today, I see that we have the gavel where we start the show. Yeah. So that's the court. And some of you know I'm an attorney, and I just got my recent magazine in Washington, D.C. in Florida. So that's where I'm barred. But again, I just do this because there are so many issues in the legal field that come up. I know my mother, unfortunately, who struggled with PD for 15 years and then passed on 1/1/2020, but she had a lot of these types of issues. Even though I'm an attorney, I actually hired a attorney on behalf of my mother because I realized how important some legal issues are, and there's more of my expertise. So today, I hope you'll be able to learn a little bit about important topics that might affect you and likely do. Today, the topic is estate planning, so I'll share some great resources from some big national organization. But just to start off, estate planning involves determining how an individual's assets will be preserved, managed, and distributed after death. It takes into account the management of an individual's properties and financial obligations in the event that they may become incapacitated. So as I always mention, it's very tough topics, and that's what I like to do here on this show because the legal field and Parkinson's disease, because likely everyone is going to face these, whether now or in the future, and why not talk about them today and plan, because planning is very important. If we plan, it's more of a chance we'll really gain some better outcomes and really want you to be able to have less issues, whether it's for your family or for anybody else in this type of situation and through a Parkinson diagnosis. Some important areas are really making a will, setting up trust. So I'll have shows on each of these. A will, as you might know, hopefully you're aware, gives instructions about property and custody if you have children, various strategies on estates. So estate planning really consists of several different areas. Last time we talked about advanced directives, but now we're talking about, again, some important considerations. You might want to make a checklist. So I advise everyone out there, again, not legal advice, just information to kind of get your own checklist. You don't need to find one, you just make up your own. You might want to make a list of your assets. So things like bank accounts, insurance policies, I try to do that for my wife even today, and I'm not diagnosed currently with PD, but really anyone should do these things, whether or not you're going through this diagnosis. Make a list of all your debts, so anything you might owe, like loans, like a mortgage for a home. Make a copy of your list. Have multiple beneficiaries. So you might have a friend now who's someone you trust, but maybe in a few years they're not. So you need to have more than one person really, looking over the future for yourself. Review your retirement accounts. Many people have one, some have several, but you have to make sure you have all this paperwork in one spot. Also review insurance and annuities. Set up a joint account or transfer death designations if something happens. In my mother's case, she was unfortunately in the last 4 years, her Parkinson's really progressed pretty quickly. To this day, I don't understand why or what happened. And I was lucky in a way enough that my mother trusted me, and we set up all the accounts that she had banking as joint for my brother and I, so that if something happened, we can carry her wishes on. Choose a estate administrator, and of course, very important, write a will. I don't recommend personally to write your own on your own, but I had an attorney in Florida, so wherever state you are, try to seek out a will attorney. You want to make sure you know you have everything properly situated and all the wording is right. You don't want to get into a long battle in court, whether with other relatives or through the system, because it's very time consuming and even more expensive, and I don't want that for you. Review your documents. You do that multiple times. Send a copy to your administrator, so someone who can have safekeeping for if the time ever came where a loved one became incapacitated or passes. See a financial professional to make sure all the, anything left to you, if there is anything, can be properly divided between different individuals like children. Consider consolidating accounts, complete financial documents, and also look at other savings vehicles. So there are different areas like 529 college plans for grandchildren and many other areas in tax specifically that need to be addressed also in your scenario if you're battling Parkinson's or a family member or caregiver. So we touch on a few things. I want to share some great resources now. So this is one. I'm going to share these links in the notes, but definitely look for an elder law attorney when talking about estate planning. So this one covers tips when you have a Parkinson diagnosis. We mentioned some, but you need to understand the diagnosis and be able to project future needs. Also, if this is for Florida, be sure to update your estate plan, and that's really for any state. Also, be sure to establish and update durable power of attorney. I'll have a whole show on power of attorney. I think I have notes, yep. And we're going to go through that in depth and make sure the healthcare goals are the most important. So again, we tackle in the law tough topics because they are reality. They do come up. Things like death with dignity. We'll have a whole show too, probably on that. Let me write a note on that one. But if you also have any topics or things you are interested in dealing with the law, please reach out and be really honored and happy to kind of bring those topics up too. This show is for you and really brings the law topic. I don't see a lot until unfortunately things happen. But even early diagnosis, early onset brings some important areas to discuss. And you do want to work on estate planning so that your family will be prepared and don't have to go through even more tragedy because they really do want to concentrate on your care and the main thing. Then I found some links for estate planning on the Parkinson's Foundation, Michael J. Fox Foundation, and the American Parkinson's Disease Association, all organizations I hold close to my heart who are always there for me. And I always try to make sure there are resources out there to support you. So with the Parkinson's Foundation, they have a whole section of their website area, and again, I'll share this website with you about estate planning and different documents that we talked about. They mentioned the durable power of attorney, trust, and a will. I'll have shows on each of those. And then also advanced directives, which we started out actually our first show, and we talked a lot about advanced directives. So feel free to go back to the prior episode on that. And also different steps that you might want to take before you meet your attorney. So again, this is educational, informational only. When you do prepare to see an attorney, if you choose to, you want to check this list out and look at these 7 steps, which are really good. But of course, keeping a list is important. Michael J. Fox actually provided by this incredible individual, Martin Schenkman, an entire PowerPoint that you can actually review to see different steps by steps on estate planning and financial planning. So definitely take a look at that. I'm going to provide his presentation, but so many areas and opportunities to prepare, and he provides 12 steps before you even begin. Inform your advisors. Some of the other steps, what to explain if you're living with PD. So he mentioned PD symptoms are varied, as we all know. Every journey is different. So those are important keys. Also, make sure to organize. Power of attorney. Choose a health proxy. Creating a will. Protect your children. You can do that through this estate planning and make a will we just talked about. Set a revocable living trust. Insurance. Set designated beneficiaries. And always remember to give back, communicate. And the last one is it's a process, which I do agree, and that's provided by the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I'll try to make a video too for every one of those topics as well. Estate planning also is discussed by the American Parkinson Disease Association. Again, I'll provide the link. But a lot of us don't really want to think about this, or maybe it just doesn't come to mind. Some tips provided by the APDA are ensure your wealth, if it's accumulated over a lifetime, make sure you direct it to where you want it to go beyond your life. Give specific directions, organize your affairs so that someone kind of taking over. In my case, it was me when my mother passed due to PD. Appoint a guardian or minor child. Provide any special needs for your loved ones. Minimize estate taxes. Specify funeral arrangements. This one, I can't tell you how helpful my mother was. I know I wouldn't have been able to function that day. We didn't even expect her to pass. She was so incredible. She actually paid for it and had the entire funeral plan before. Obviously, it wasn't planned because of Parkinson's, because we didn't know she would pass due to Parkinson, but it was already done. So it made at least that one aspect a little bit easier. Of course, the entire situation was not easy. And finally, one area that people sometimes forget, maybe I'll do a show on that one, is the pets. If you have an animal or pet, you want to make sure you name who the pet is going to also go to, because you don't want the little Arabella or Carolina kind of being left out. And so pets and, where to leave them or how to plan for that too. It's definitely something critical that we don't think about. So those are some of the links I'm going to share in the notes. And again, these are kind of short on purpose. I just wanted to touch on different topics each show. We'll try to do one a week or month. Eventually, we'll have every topic covered, so you won't really need the show, but I'll still always be around for you to support you. Some other topics that we'll be covering so far we've done I'm gonna maybe go back, just discuss the law the next time, but we talked about estate planning and advanced directives. We have a lot more topics to come. And again, just hope this helps a little. Only purpose I thought of this was, I'm an attorney, have a lot of background in the law. And I thought I could bring an area I don't really see. If you're out there, please reach out, but I don't see any lawyers talking much about Parkinson's awareness. I don't see enough of the legal aspects coming out and really being shared daily like a lot of other advocacy is. And I think this is one area that we need, because I don't want you to worry or not plan or be unaware of the legal ramifications when it's too late for you or for your family. So again, this has been another episode of the legal field with Parkinson's and Parkinson's disease, hosted by me, attorney George Ackerman, and so much more to come. And please, again, reach out anytime. Thank you for joining me in court today. This has been another episode, and I'll see you next time. Have a safe and beautiful day. Thanks, everyone.